Hey, let's talk about Quentin Grimes for a second, man. Because when we were talking about Mikal Bridges, do you feel like, because you watch Quentin Grimes in New York and then he goes to Detroit, and do you feel like, I guess I have like a three-part question. Do you feel like Quentin Grimes didn't get enough of an opportunity in New York? And then do you feel like or do you feel like what he did in Philly was just because the team was tanking and he was getting a lot of shot opportunities at the end of a season? You know what I mean? And third part of the question, I guess, is should the Sixers sell high on Quentin Grimes much like the Brooklyn Nets sold high on Mikal Bridges? You know what I mean?
All right, so starting off from the rip, as I said before, like when he started with the Knicks, it was a team that was starting to like finally basically was retooled, rebuilt, had to build up from the ground up. That was the Julius Randle days, the RJ Barrett days. And he was an underrated player that we can get good minutes out of, get good production. Like certain nights when he was on, he was on. Honestly, at that point, there were times that if he was on and one or the other of RJ and Randall were off, then I was like, look, just feed Grimes, feed Quick, feed Toppin, like feed all of them. And sure enough, we did so. Like he was great, honestly, very productive off the bench. If we started him, I think we started him a couple of times in 2021, 22. And those were times where I'm thinking like, crap, we need more bodies, like actual bodies. Like that when we look back at the teams of 22, 23, and 23, 24, it may have seemed like the Knicks had a bunch of role players. 21, 22 was when you could really say, yeah, definitively that was the role player year.
Yeah.
That was the year of the Cam Reddish. Like it was just, yeah, it was. So he is a great player off the bench. I would still say, like looking back, he was given good opportunities and he did produce for us off the bench. Now we needed Bogdanovich down the stretch in 23, 24, so we made the trade. It sucks seeing him go, but that did also open a pathway for Deuce McBride because he was eating McBride's minutes.
Yeah.
That gave McBride a good opportunity, and also that gave him an opportunity to get more minutes because he was playing on one of the worst Pistons team ever. So he got like plenty of opportunity there. Then he goes to you guys, gets plenty of opportunity there. So in a way, to answer your question, like he did have some opportunity with the Knicks when he was given more minutes. Like it didn't work out because usually it was just that he's a player, like the perfect bench player, where you can't start him because if you start him, that's a red flag for the whole team. If he does produce a lot, either he's on that night, which by all means keep feeding him if he's on, or he is not going to be produced. Like then the rest of your team is not producing, and it's either one or the other. It's either he's on and the rest of the team is like, you know what, they're doing good. That may be just a one-off night that they're struggling. Or if that's a trend where like he's producing more than the rest of your team, then you got to address the rest of your team. What the hell's going on? You're being outscored by a bench guy.
Yeah.
So and at that point, I guess like as far as your last question concerned, if you can find a good suitor that you can like fleece off of it, hey, go for it. You can find other bench players. There's no shortage of them. But he is a good bench player, so you got to make sure you find the good one. And then also, you got to make sure the value is worth it. If you trade him and it's just like you trade him just for the sake of trading him, but you don't get someone good in return to replace him, then at that point, it's like you just wasted – you had a good bench player that you just waste away.
See, but this is the thing. This is why I'm asking you this, because with the way that he was scoring at the end of the season, and I'm guilty of it too, Sixers fans aren't even looking at him as a bench player. Sixers fans are looking at him as a young up-and-coming star in the league, and they absolutely can't let him go because at 24 years old, to put up some of those stat lines on the efficiency that he was doing it, you know what I mean? Maxey was out here shooting 10%. Tyrese Maxey, who we love, was out here chucking bricks every night all season. Grimes was out here shooting high efficiency 25 points, 35 points, 45 points, 40, 38, 36. Like, it was wild what he was doing, and it wasn't like, yeah, he was playing on a team full of scrubs at the time, but he wasn't playing against scrubs, you know what I mean? So I think I don't know what to think about Grimes, man, but I just think I think he might be more than a bench player. I know you watched him in New York. Maybe he developed when he went to Dallas, maybe just the playing time, maybe something he you know, his potential came out. Or maybe he was just shining on a team that didn't have anybody at the time, and maybe he is a bench player. But the reason I've been saying the Sixers should trade Grimes is because I think it's a little bit of a logjam for them with Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, and I'm already tired of these small ball lineups. And Grimes is what, 6'3", 6'4"? I think Grimes is 6'4". I just need if you're gonna play Maxey McCain, I need a guy that's like 6'7", 6'8" at the small forward. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's tough, and I think Grimes is in a situation where he probably feels like, especially from a business standpoint or a personal brand standpoint, he probably feels like, I just did what I did at the end of that season. I earned starting minutes on a team somewhere, and I earned a contract. I mean, the Sixers can match any contract because of the bird rights, but I think he's gonna, you know, it might be a situation where, like, I don't know how that works. I don't know if a player would go to a team and be like, listen, you know, I thank you for the opportunity. I know you have my bird rights, but I would appreciate it if we worked out a sign and trade because I want to be a starter on a team somewhere. And with Paul George, Embiid, Maxey, McCain, and everybody, I'm not going to get starter minutes. Do you think they could do something like that and end up signing and trading him?
Oh, 110% agree. I could definitely see that mainly off the fact that, like you said, you have Embiid and George coming back, and you're obviously Maxey. You got as your best small, but you also have to hope that if you got Grimes winding up stealing minutes from McCain, that's a really not great look for McCain. If he's losing out to Grimes, and also that just for the FO also, you just burned a first round pick on a guy that's losing out to to another person that you wound up just grabbing as a complete like sneaky low key trade. So you got to wind up like, I could definitely see a move where he himself has valued, or his value is like higher, that he can say, you know what, put me on a team. And honestly, he can go to one of those teams that's like middle of the pack, where either they're middle of the pack or they just like, they were garbage and now they're starting to build up something. And he could be that player to help build them. So I could see a trade where he goes to, I don't know if Chicago has the room for him. I could maybe see him alongside LaMelo down in Charlotte. But there are options. I could see him being moved somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's like, dude, it depends what he gets offered. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's in like the $20 million range. I've seen reports of like rumors of like 20 to 25 a year. Like it's all going to come down to what teams think of that like final stretch that he had where he was scoring like a NBA star, you know? So, but if it's like 20 or 25, they're not going to match that, I don't think, because again, you would be bringing him off the bench and you're not going to pay that much money for a guy coming off the bench. If you do, and he wants to, if the Sixers have Jared McCain and Quentin Grimes coming off the bench and they're starting Maxey, Justin Edwards, whoever they draft at 3, maybe Ace Bailey off the bench. But either way, if they keep Grimes somehow, some way, and he doesn't ask for a sign and trade or something, and Joel Embiid and Paul George are healthy, Sixers are the best team in the East next year.
Yeah, no, if everything breaks right for the Sixers, yeah, they have something. The problem
You agree.
If everything breaks right, like
best
sure,
team in the East next year.
If the planets align and by some stretch of imagination, this all works out, yeah, you know what? I'll be the first to admit, all right, you got me there. I'm going to hate it, but I'll be like, whatever, fine.
But the odds of it happening. The odds of it happening are.
Yeah, that's like, you might as well put like, what's it called? Play the Powerball at that point.
All right, so, Mufasa Sports Club, man, thank you for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. Why not start Grimes if he comes back and bring McCain off the bench in a similar role like Peyton Pritchard in Boston? Grimes brings more size and defense next to Maxey. I just think, I mean, dude, I don't know, man. It's tough. I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make a decision. I don't think they all three can play together, but Nick Nurse is insane. Nick Nurse was playing lineups of Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, and Reggie Jackson in 2025, man. Yeah. These are 3 40-year-old guys that are 5'11" and can't run. Like, it was just so there's that too with Sixers fans and Nick Nurse, and I don't even know what he's gonna do. We can talk about what makes sense about as far as lineups and things, but then Nick Nurse will come out and just do some wild stuff. I could see him playing Maxey McCain and Grimes in the same lineups and getting cooked on the boards, and but I don't know, man. It's tough. But on the Nick Nurse topic, man, with the whole Knicks firing Tom Thibodeau, how do you think Nick Nurse has survived? Because in Philly he lost in the first round to the Knicks. Well, we can go back to like Brett Brown. Brett Brown never got out of the second round. Doc Rivers never got out of the second round. Then we hire Nick Nurse. He does even worse. He loses in the first round to the Knicks. And then the next year, he tanks and doesn't even make the playoffs. How does Nick Nurse still have a job if a guy like Tom Thibodeau that took a team to an Eastern Conference Finals got fired? You know what I mean?
So I think it's the fact that obviously, it's going to be the easiest answer, but injuries. I'm going to say that he banked off of, he went to the front office and said, look, they were injured all year. I didn't get a chance to work with both of them. Give me a chance to work with those two. Give me a chance to work with because I'm sure also he's probably using Grimes production towards the end, because otherwise if they had just completely tailspin all the way down and lost every game the rest of the way, sure, that's one thing. But he's gonna probably talk about the fact that he, even while starting players that the aforementioned Lowry minutes, where the lineups look like something that you cook in NBA 2K15 after you sim the game 10 years down the road, and it's oh cool, they're all together now, great. But no, it literally he basically had to have gone into the front office and said, look, they were injured all year, give me one more year to work with them. And that's why it all hinges on this year. If everything works out and he has that healthy team to work with and he can propel them to the next level, then by all means, it works out. Clearly, you get a chip, everything works. Anytime that you get a championship, it's all worth it. The problem is, if you don't get that championship, you then have to deal with the repercussions.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm feeling good about it, man. I think, listen, if they find a way to re-sign Grimes, and Justin Edwards was undrafted, and he was kind of a diamond in the rough at the end of the season, and they get everybody back healthy, and Jared McCain had a torn meniscus, and he comes back healthy, and they get a high draft pick, and dude, it's looking like they could be deep, man.